Well, here we go again, right back to it for some playoff hockey as the Firebirds take on the Kitchener Rangers in Game 4 of this best-of-7 series. Flint got on the board on Tuesday with a 2-0 shutout win behind a stellar performance from their goaltender Nathan Day, and now they'll try and hold serve on home ice and send this baby back to Kitchener, all tied at 2. Let's do it. It's Game 4 for the Firebirds and the Rangers. Flint Firebirds playoff hockey is on the air. And it starts right now. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the broadcast booth for the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive. Here to tell you the story, I'm Brian Gardner. Well, things got interesting with a Tuesday win for the Firebirds, 2-0 the final score. Flint got on the board in Game 3 of this best-of-7 series, and they now trail the series 2-1. Now, that was behind a stellar performance from their goaltender, Nathan Day. The Firebirds were down in the game in shots on goal 30-13 after 2, and quite frankly didn't quite feel great about things going into that third period. But then the third happened. For the Firebirds, they outshot the Rangers 19-8 in the third and final period. They got goals from both Caden Petrie and Matthew Wang, the latter of which was shorthanded. And Nathan Day, well, he made those 8 extra saves for the 38-save shutout as the Birds took Game 3 by a final score of 2-0. I want to harken back to something that we talked about with the head coach, Paul Flash, in the postgame show. Matt Merrifield, our ringside reporter, spoke with the head coach after that game, as always. And one thing that Paul Flash said was that, well, we really liked our Game 1, and we really liked our third period in Game 3, omitting the first and second period in Game 3, omitting the Game 2 effort, a 6-1 loss in Kitchener on Sunday over the weekend. Now that to me says, hey, the formula is pretty clear. Play the way you did and play in Game 1, play the way you did for sure in Game 3 in this building on Tuesday, and the Firebirds will be feeling pretty good about their chances. Game 5 is scheduled for tomorrow in Kitchener, as both these teams are going to be jumping on the bus after the game and heading over to Kitchener, Ontario in advance of tomorrow's game. The question will be, is it a tie series going back to Kitchener with that home team having, of course, home ice advantage, or are the Firebirds playing with their backs against the wall? All we can do is watch Game 4 and find out what we're going to be working with tomorrow. So before we look ahead to tomorrow's game or even into today's game, let's get a look at the highlights from Game 3 and that Firebirds win here on home ice. So for the Birds, we'll pick it up in the first period and saw a lot of this early on. It's going to be Nathan Day flashing the leather. Jack Pridham going to the backhand, little modified break. Day made the save. Easy does it. On the other end, Jackson Parsons wasn't tested quite as much early on, but he made some big saves as well, and it's still 0-0. Second period, Nathan Day makes a save, slides out of the crease, got a little dangerous here with the Firebirds on the penalty kill, but the PK guys help him out, as still though the Rangers working in the attacking zone. They were in the attacking zone a lot. Day though with the glove save, that was his 20th save of the game to that point. We're into the third now, and in the third, Firebirds showing a sign of life. Caden Petrie trying to pass that puck, but it pinballs its way in and eventually finds its way back to him. Petrie shoots and scores, and the Firebirds are on the board. Caden Petrie's first career OHL playoff goal. Through traffic, Parsons was screened. Petrie will take it. Watch the reverse angle here from Parsons. Campbell right in front of him. Tough for the goaltender to see, and it's 1-0 Firebirds. Later, the Birds on the penalty kill. Connor Clattenburg going to gain the zone, puts a little move on, backhanded shot turned aside, but who's there for the rebound but Matthew Wang driving the net. Wang got the edge on the D, he held him off, and he pokes it home as it was Christian Humphreys trying to get back there and tangle Matthew Wang up, but Wang does the dirty work as the Firebirds get the goal. The Firebirds get the win by a final score of 2-0 as they celebrate with Nathan Day over in the Birds net. So we take a look at our team comparison from this series and from the postseason, as the Rangers do have the edge in goals by a +4 margin, 10-6. Kitchener at 25% on the power play, which means the Firebirds are at 75% on the penalty kill. And the Firebirds, they continue to struggle with the man advantage. They are 0 for 13 on the power play so far during this series. We'd love to see that get itself sorted out and have the Firebirds put some pucks in the net when they do skate with a man advantage. Getting a look at the bracket for the Firebirds, of course, taking on the Kitchener Rangers in the 3-6 matchup. 2-1 Kitchener has the series lead. Let's go through them all, though. London on the verge of a possible sweep over Owen Sound as they lead that best-of-7 series 3-0. Windsor did drop one in the Sioux in Game 3, but they took Game 4 as well. 3-1 Windsor now leads the Sioux Greyhounds in their best of 7 series, 1 win away from advancing. The Saginaw Spirit got on the board with an overtime win in Game 3. Zane Perrette got the game-winning goal in that one in Erie. So the Otters, the 5 seed, lead the 4 seed Spirit 2-1 after 3. Game 4 is tonight in Northwest PA. Brantford on the verge of a sweep of the North Bay Battalion. North Bay trying to hold that off, but Brantford leading that best of 7 series 3-0 in the 1-8 matchup in the East. Barrie in the 2-7 matchup. The Colts have the edge over Niagara 2-1, but the Ice Dogs did get on the board in Game 3. In Game 3 in Sudbury, the Wolves couldn't capitalize on home ice advantage. Kingston has the edge 3-0 through 3 games in that best of 7 series in the 3-6 matchup in the East. And the Oshawa Generals in the 4-5 matchup with Brampton. They've gone back and forth. Oshawa took Game 1, Brampton got Game 2. Then Oshawa grabbed Game 3 in Brampton to take the lead in that best of 7 series, 2-1. So the Firebirds, who trail their best of 7 series 2-1. Now Flint trying to even things up, hoping for a win here on home ice on this Thursday evening from the Dordt Financial Center. Firebirds hoping to hold serve on home ice. Of course, they got that stellar performance from Nathan Day. The Edmonton Oilers prospect, 38 save shutout, his first career OHL shutout in Game 3, as the Firebirds rode his performance to their first win of the postseason. We'll see if they can string a couple together, even up this series, and take it back to Kitchener with it all square, 2 games apiece. Hey, don't go anywhere. Stick around when we come back on the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive. We'll look at our lineups for today's game. A significant absence for the Kitchener Rangers. We'll tell you about that. Get a look at how these teams are lining up today. Also, as always, our players to watch. We got playoff hockey for you here on FHN. Firebirds and the Rangers, Game 4 of their first round series, coming up here on the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive. Back after this on the Firebirds Hockey Network.
At the Shea Megalot, they pride themselves on always aiming higher and finding new and better ways to keep you informed on your next new-to-you vehicle. Go to SheaMegalot.com, look for the used vehicle tab, choose your vehicle, then look for the button that says Vehicle Records, where you can find the original MSRP, view the service, maintenance, and Carfax history, just like looking under the hood. Plus, take a video test drive. I'm Mackenzie Miller, and with over 500 pre-owned and certified vehicles to choose from, the Shea Megalot is where it's at. Just saying.
Kitchener and Flint, Game 4 of this first round series between the 3rd seed Rangers and the 6th seed Firebirds. Rangers have the edge in the series 2-1. Birds hoping to even things up here in Game 4 on home ice. Let's get a look at the lineups for today's game. For the Kitchener Rangers, they move things around just a little bit on the forward groups as Chris Grisolia up to the 3rd line for Kitchener, but the big difference is the absence of Cameron Reed, usually alongside Jakub Kromiak, and now it's Jacob Zhu instead making his OHL postseason debut. The rookie had 8 games played during the regular season for Kitchener. He's in the lineup for the first time in this series. Jackson Parsons, of course, has the net for Kitchener. Our players to watch, let's begin with the Rangers, and we'll start with their captain, Matthew Andonovski. The Kitchener captain has been noticeable a couple of times during this season for post-whistle altercations with Flint's captain Connor Clattenburg. Now the two who wear the C's fought in the first period of Game 1, just 62 seconds into that game, in fact. Then they got 10-minute misconducts after roughing penalties at the end of Game 3 on Tuesday, late in the 3rd period. There's a bit of animosity, it seems, between the two, and neither player is a slouch, of course. He's a Senators prospect, Andonovski, 6 goals, 15 assists in 61 regular season games. He's +4 with 1 assist so far during the OHL playoffs. Let's go to the top line center and Christian Humphreys, as he centers that potent attack with Trent Swick on one wing and Jack Pridham on the other. He, like everybody, was held off the score sheet on Tuesday, but he picked up 2 assists in each of the first 2 games. Both of them Kitchener wins. Humphreys is a Colorado draft pick. The Avalanche snagged him in the 7th round in 2024's NHL draft. He had 11 goals and 22 assists during the regular season. 29 games played in that regular season during an abbreviated campaign after he left the University of Michigan. He opened up the season in the NCAA ranks. Humphreys, 4 assists, a -1 rating so far. And finally to Luca Romano. Now he's been a little bit quiet since the first game of the series when he had a goal and an assist. Not just any goal, but the game winner in Game 1, the OT game winner, that 4-3 win for Kitchener. He's draft eligible and has turned some heads after he totaled 25 goals and 26 assists, 51 points during 67 games in his second season with the Rangers, and just those 2 points so far in this one. But on that second line. He keeps it rolling for a young Kitchener squad. Over to the Firebirds as the Birds looking up at their lineup. It is identical to the one they went with in Game 3. The 2-0 win for the Firebirds as they had made the change of swapping Caden Petrie and Sam McHugh in advance of that game. Now Petrie did put up the goal for the Firebirds in the third period that put them on the board. McHugh yet to find the score sheet for Flint. Of course, Nathan Day has the net once again for the Firebirds. Our players to watch on the Flint side of things, and, well, we've already mentioned the Firebirds captain's exploits with Andonovski. Clattenburg, of course, can set the tone for Flint with that physical play. The OHL coaches poll actually came out about an hour and a half ago, and Clattenburg was named the best body checker in the Western Conference. Andonovski was second, and the third hardest worker in the West by virtue of the votes from the coaches around the league. He set up Matthew Wang's shorthanded goal with a nice play in the third period last night. That assist was his first of the postseason. 35 points in 46 games for the Edmonton prospect and the Firebirds captain. Speaking of Matthew Wang, 2 goals for Wang so far in this series. Struck both in the first period of Game 1 and in the third period of Game 3. It's good to see Wang putting the puck in the net. He had cooled off down the stretch, but did total 15 goals during the regular season alongside 13 assists. Played in every single game for the Firebirds. He's on that third line with Chris Thibodeau and Josh Colosimo, a line that was making some things happen on Tuesday. That is a hard-working line. Hopefully one that can make some noise for the Firebirds here in Game 4. Finally, we've already mentioned his name, Caden Petrie, our final player to watch for the Firebirds. Had a goal and an assist so far in the series for the Birds, including the goal that started the scoring on Tuesday in the third period. That was his first OHL playoff goal, and for Petrie, the Firebirds will hope for him to drive some offense, which of course has been tough to come by in this postseason, as Kitchener has held them so far to a total of 6 goals in 3 games. Now Petrie is second on the team with 53 points on 22 goals and 31 assists over 57 games during the regular season. The Tampa prospect, we know that he can put the puck in the net. Well, the Firebirds and the Kitchener Rangers getting set to go at it for Game 4 of this best-of-7 series. Flint trying to even it up, and the Rangers hoping that they can go home for Game 4 tomorrow with a chance to win it on home ice. We'll see how it happens as the lights will dim behind me. Time to get ready for some hockey here at the Dort Financial Center. So let's take a break. When we come back, we'll have starting lineups, introductions, we'll have anthems, we'll have puck drop. Flint, Kitchener, Game 4 coming up after this. This has been the pregame show driven by Shea Automotive here on the Firebirds Hockey Network.
There's not always a light on your dash when it comes to your brakes. Whoa! You ever hear that noise? Let me show you what could be going on. Wow, looks like it's time to replace those brake pads. Before this happens to you, come on in for your free brake inspection. If you need brakes, we'll even give you 10% off any brake repairs here at Shea. I'm Jesse Lopez, and that's my tip for the month. Come trust our process. Come trust the Shea service team.